say call Kamla. Let me call Kamla. Let's see if I have Kamla now.
It's her birthday too?
No, no, no. We want to talk about the controversy in Trinidad.
Oh God.
You sure you want to give that life?
No, I want to give it live. I want to talk to Kamla. Let me see if Kamla will pick up the phone. If we call the political leader the PM, how we can call Kamla? I know for Kamla number.
Kami.
But
Hold on.
you know, while you call, I didn't get a chance to weigh in, and
Hold up. We calling Kamla for
okay.
actually has the number. That's Miss Kamla Prasad. That's the phone ring.
Hmm?
Folks, we calling Mrs. Kamla Prasad Besessa.
Hello,
Hello, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Besessa. You are live on WZYE 95.9
speaking.
FM in New York and New Jersey. How are you doing, Miss Kamla, Miss Prasad Besessa?
Good night. I'm fine, sir. How are you?
We are wonderful, Miss Besessa. Miss Besessa, we want to say firstly, we appreciate very kindly that you're able to pick up the phone and talk to us, because in the past we have called several people from the other side of the political divide and they have not picked up the phone. So let me say that, coming from us here in the diaspora, that we humbly appreciate that you pick up the phone. How are you doing, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Besessa?
I'm a little tired because I was out for a couple of days. I returned to Trinidad yesterday, but I'm so happy to be back home, as you will appreciate. So I'm fine, and thank you for asking.
Miss Prasad Besessa, we just want you to lay one thing to rest regarding the toe issue. We just want you to lay that to rest.
Shall I take, shall I take a photograph of my toes and send it?
Yeah, we be more than willing for that to happen, of course, because we feel that our program is a balanced program, and what we do, Mrs. Prasad Besessa, is that we pick up the phone and call politicians. We are in the diaspora, and we feel that politicians should pick up the phone and talk to people, especially us here in the diaspora, right? And it is good that you will lay that issue to rest, because it was a big issue all over the radio stations, and people
I'm a
say,
little tired because I was out for a couple of days. I returned to Trinidad yesterday,
mm,
but I'm so happy to be back home, as you will appreciate.
mm.
So I'm fine, and thank you for asking.
And you are well. Everything is going fantastic. Hello, Miss Prasad
Shall I
Besessa.
take
Do you want to
shall I
say
take a photograph of my toes and send it?
It will be required. It will be
no? That's
necessary.
not required.
We
We don't
believe
need
you.
that. Do you want to say anything to the people in the diaspora, because they haven't heard from you? We in the diaspora have not heard from you in a long time. Do you want to say anything to the people in the diaspora?
Think she.
Did she hear us?
Hello, did you hear me?
I'm a little tired because I was out for a couple of days.
Oh,
I
she's
returned to
tired. She's
Trinidad
tired.
yesterday, but I'm so happy to be back home, as you will
Mm.
appreciate. So I'm fine, and thank you for asking.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Besessa. We appreciate you picking up the phone. Thank you.
Shall I take Shall I take a photograph of my toes and send it? Do you have a toe fetish by chance?
I don't think that's necessary. We don't think that's necessary. But thank you so much, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Besessa, for picking up the phone. We appreciate it.
Yeah, she's tired. So let's bid her good night.
Okay, good night. Thank you so much. So, folks,
Mm.
what you guys are learning is something that it's better to try and fail
Then fails to try.
than fail to try. when you think something is impossible, impossible also spells I
It is.
am possible.
Mhm.
And I want to say that we might be one of the first radio stations in a long time to call an opposition political leader and they pick up the phone.
Hmm.
And all we were trying to do is to prove that. So what we can say now, that if we call the opposition leader, she picks up the phone.
Hmm.
And hello.
Call calling him.
Call her drop.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Besessa. Yeah, we were
You
just
just say,
you
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 can, sir, you can just say Mrs. Bisasa. It's easier for you.
okay, all right.
That's not wrong. Mrs.
Yeah.
Bisasa.
Yeah, Mrs. Besessa.
Or
And
Kamla. You can say Kamla.
okay, all right, all right. No, we like to be respectful. We like to be respectful. So
Thank you.
so Mrs. Besessa, we were
Toes.
say that again.
You were talking about my toes.
Yeah. We are not on the toes issue anymore. We know that you are fine.
Well, be assured I have all my 10 toes.
Mhm.
God is good, you know. I have all 10 toes. Nothing is wrong with my toes or with my fingers, no, with my brain.
Mm.
I'm a diabetic, as the whole world knows. I've shared that. I'm fine otherwise. You know? So
Mm.
that's my health. So we move along then.
Mhm. Is there anything you like to say to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago in the diaspora?
Well, to those of you who are out in the diaspora, we certainly miss you here at home. But I'm sure many of you do miss Trinidad and Tobago. But I know people move. I lived out of Trinidad for 15 years in various parts of the world, studying and working and so on. So I do understand for opportunities for yourself and for opportunities for your children, we do understand that you may be out in the diaspora. And we pray and hope that you will be able to come home one day. And then generally, I mean, we are not in a good place at the moment. Whilst I say please come home, we are not in a good place. The crime situation is so horrendous, and it doesn't appear that the government has any idea or any plan to really deal with the. We are number 6 in the world, you know, the serious crimes. Number 6, the little Trinidad and Tobago, number 6 in the whole wide world. The government has been there for 8 years. We thought in the budget they would come up with some proposals to deal with crime. And as you know, pending some proposed joint crime talks, which seems to be going nowhere. So crime is the number one issue. And I always say, if you are dead, you cannot enjoy roads, bridge, school, things to eat. You know, you cannot enjoy if you have no life. And therefore, the number one priority of any government is the safety and security of its people. And this government has miserably failed in that regard and still remains very clueless. So crime, if you ask me, and if you want me to continue, I'll give you the second priority issue, I think, is the economy. The economy has collapsed. All the data, which is not my data or yours, all the data, the government's data presented in the budget debate and all the numerous books that we read that are laid in the parliament, the economy has collapsed. It's not that it's collapsing, it has collapsed. And therefore the job market, what is the jobs? The government has introduced nothing new in terms of what are their plans for creating new revenue streams? That's what we need. We need money. We closed down Petrotrin, we lost the forex, we lost all that money that we could have made. And they have come up with not one single plan about how to create new revenue streams and thereby to create jobs. I don't know if you saw there was a recruitment drive here in Trinidad in the last several days, and so many people turned up. Guyana came to recruit people in Trinidad, and so many people turned up. And you may remember when the cruise ship people came some time ago, the same thing happened. So joblessness is a serious, serious matter. And that too is tied, I'm not saying the cause of crime, but it's tied also to the crime situation that we are in. So those are two issues I'll flag. I mean, the other sectors, I think, are in a bad way as well, but those two, I think, are key sectors. And not to mention infrastructure, of course.
Yeah, Mrs. Besessa, do
I have
you
a question, Anselm, when you're ready.
Well,
Mrs. Besessa, this is Miss Benskin. How are you doing?
I'm Miss Benskin. I'm fine, thank you.
Good. We saw recently where the Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honorable Mia Mottley, my other citizenship place, she launched an ad. The government launched an ad wanting to hear from the diaspora, the Bajan diaspora. Want to hear from you. Do you think this is something that Trinidad and Tobago needs to engage in? So persons like myself, a born Trinidadian, Trinbagonian, who would like to vote and partake actively in the goings on in my birthland. Do you think this is something that the government, whoever they are, should engage in also to encourage us in the diaspora?
I think it's an excellent idea. My sister, Mia Mossy, of course, we both grew up in the politics. So I admire her very much. She's a very brilliant woman. And the suggestion he has made is an excellent one for all of us in our home countries, because such a large portion of our people are out there in the diaspora. And when we were in government, I had made a proposal about engaging the diaspora in different ways. One way was with respect to diaspora bonds, where you can invest in Trinidad and Tobago and get a return on your money. That was one proposal I remember I had, but we welcome suggestions from diaspora. Let's talk, as Mia said. I totally agree with her. I totally agree.
Okay.
So, Mrs. Busesa, just before you go, right, you have suggested stand your ground in Trinidad and Tobago, and the stand your ground issue in America is very contentious. You know, would you at all, you know, kind of change the concept with the difference between, you know, there's stand your ground and there is another the Castor doctrine? Would you kind of change it a little bit to tweak it more as that the Castor doctrine, your castle is your home and you have to defend your home by any means necessary, right? While stand your ground is that I could be on the street and I could, you know, if I think I'm in danger, I could, you know, take care of you, so to speak. Yeah, I could stand my ground. Yeah. What do you say?
Well, I'm not sure what is your question, sir.
The difference between doctrine and stand your ground.
You know, I may respectfully disagree that the Castor doctrine and the stand your ground doctrine, they are one and the same. It's the same principle. It will be how you flesh it out to make sure that the intruder also has some rights and is protected. But really, your home is your castle, and you have that right. So I respectfully disagree unless you can show me otherwise, that the two doctrines are not opposed. They are, in fact, part of the same spectrum, if I may use that word. And it's how we roll it out. And therefore, we will look at, in rolling it out, we look at other jurisdictions, such as the US, where it's very prevalent. And you know something? What is happening? The criminal no longer fears the judge and the jury in our country. So the criminal must now learn to fear the victim, the would-be victim. If I am to be the victim, or you or Miss Benson, if you're supposed, you should be able, that criminal should fear you. Don't come into my home. Do not come into my home. I have a husband, I have children, I have grandchildren. A friend here has a wife, maybe. You know, Miss Benson, you may have a husband. No. So Castor doctrine and stand your ground, sir, I believe respectfully, are on the same spectrum of laws that can be introduced. What is the alternative? What is the alternative? The only thing I say, the victim must be protected at all costs, and therefore the criminal must learn to be afraid of the victim.
But Mrs. Bassess, if we change the laws...
Wait a minute. 1 minute. Let her finish. Go ahead.
I thought you would.
Go ahead, Miss.
No, I'm finished on that point. Sorry, Miss.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry, ma'am. But don't you think, Mrs. Busesa, if we change the legislative part of the government of Trinidad and Tobago to the laws, reform laws and stuff, that would deter the activity of home invasions rather than arming the citizens to shoot and kill? I mean, I'm going to defend myself. You know, you come in here, I live alone. I have things set up. But don't you think changing the law would deter the activity of home invasion? First, can we start there?
Certainly we can. Indeed, it is already a crime to invade a person's home, is it not? The law is already there. That if an invader comes here, or by you, Miss Benson, sorry, you're alone, so you're even more vulnerable. If an invader comes into your home, the law is already there. What is not there is for the victim to protect himself or herself. That is what matters in the law, not yet in the law. And but I'll take your point in another way. Laws alone are not enough. Huh? In the last couple of years, we have passed over 38 pieces of crime-fighting legislation. And what has happened? The crime continues to escalate. So yes, you may be right. We should pass home invasion laws, which already makes a home invasion a crime. It's already a crime. There's law already.
I'm talking about the punishment phase, where it makes it not attractive to even attempt to do it. So
You're making a good point. Maybe in your country that is a good thing. In this country, the criminal does not fear the judge or the jury. Not anymore. Because the criminal justice system has broken down. So you're saying they'll be afraid because they spend their life in jail, their lifetime, or they may be hanged, death penalty as it may be. But that's in the law, and the murders are continuing. You talk about the home invasion. The murders are on a sharp increase. So I want 2 points here. Your question was whether we just change the home invasion laws. I'm saying we already have laws to make home invasion a crime. It's not a deterrent. You say maybe increase the sentence. What is the greatest sentence you can get? It's the death penalty for murder. And yet the murder is escalating. The criminal is no longer fair. Because first you have to catch them. Our detection rate, I come last week in the newspapers, they carried detection rate, meaning to find the person. And I think it was like 13%.
Yes, 13%.
So out of, it's very low, very, very low. So you have to catch them. With greater respect again, I think law alone will not be enough. And to use the law of like the punishment for crimes, it's not enough. It's not working. So we have to become a little more drastic, if you want to use that word. They have to fear the victim. They do not fear the courthouse. They do not fear the judge. They do not fear the jury. They do not fear the jail. To be afraid of the victim. When they come into your home, they must be afraid of you.
And Mr. Cesar, just before you go, right, what would you have done differently if you were the prime minister with respect to the crime problem, other than the stand your ground laws? What would you have done differently if you were the prime minister of Trinidad and Tobago today with respect to the crime problem that Trinidad and Tobago is facing?
That would take me quite a while. I've already laid out I'll share with you, all due respect. We did it. We have a track record. Under my watch, serious crimes came down to the lowest in decades. So there are a lot of measures that we have put in place. Some is legislative. There's another major area in terms of crime fighting, which is the social aspect of it. And you come back to the economy, jobs, and so on. So I can send it if you like, but there's a lot of stuff that we did and some more that we are now proposing given the dire circumstances we are now in.
So Mrs. Prasad, I want to say again to you, thank you so very kindly for giving us, 12 minutes of your time. And you were so very gracious. You called us back because of the situation that happened. So you want to say anything to the diaspora before you go?
Well, I know you're going to Halloween, so enjoy it. You're going to so give praise and thanks to Mighty God, Almighty God. God first, I always say. For your Thanksgiving, let's give praise and thanks. And of course, we celebrate Christmas thereafter. Here in Trinidad, we also have another festival of religious significance, which is Diwali is also coming. It's a very significant time of the year for all religions. So I want to say give praise and thanks to the goodness of God, and God bless you all, and thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Prasad. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mrs. Basassa.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Keep safe, Miss Benton.
Oh, I live in the U.S. I'm okay.
Thank you so much. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So folks, again, we did an unscientific experiment. We call the political leader of the PNM, he didn't answer the phone. The political leader of the UNC, not only did she pick up the phone,
Call back.
she called us back. Simple. Plain talk, bad manners. Simple. And if you are going to be for the people, I don't care if it's your birthday, I don't care if it's your anniversary, you supposed to pick up the phone. You are taking taxpayers' dollars.
But you ain't taking your dollars.
I want to congratulate Mrs. Kamla Prasad Besessa. Yes, yes. We're keeping it real, you know. We're
Yep.
keeping it real. And, the lady called back,
Yep. At first she thought it was a prank call, I think. So she has a, you know.
Why? Tommy, I don't know what else to say, nah?
Mhm.
Proof is in the pudding.
Yep.
The proof is in the pudding.
Top of the hour, Anselm.
Yeah, we changing the way radio stations do business, you know.
Mhm.
Hold on, let me take this one. KFC partner. Turn on your computer. Turn on your computer. Turn on your computer. Yeah. KFC, you hear that? You hear that?
I did interview with the political leader. We have the honorable Kamla Prasad, the Prime Minister Trinidad and Tobago, speaker today.
KFC, she pick up the phone and she call back, boy.
Ooh.
And the Prime Minister right now, to wish him happy birthday in advance.
He picking up the phone. When we come back, I had to play belated. Yeah, let me go.